Hi, it's Becky here from Genie Frog Crochet, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make one of these key rings that can hold. It's a brilliant gift idea, so it can hold either, if I can get in there, a tin of lip balm, a tin of Vaseline, and also I discovered that it holds my earpods. So it's a fantastic Christmas gift idea, birthday gift idea for keeping either your earphones safe, keeping your lip balm handy. So what you will need is also a very good stash buster project. So what you will need is some DK weight cotton yarn, a keyring attachment and a button, and a darning needle for weaving in your ends. Also, I've got a smaller needle that I needed because the eye of my darning needle didn't actually fit through the hole of my button. So I've got a smaller needle as well. And I'll be using a 3.5mm hook with my yarn, but it's entirely up to you. You can use whatever yarn you like, but this is the yarn that works to make the size that I needed with a 3.5 hook. So without further ado, it's very easy. We're just going to start making two little granny squares. You can make whatever colours you like. You don't even have to change colours if you don't want to. You can make it all in one colour. So let's make a start. Let's put all these bits and bobs out of the way until we need them. So I'm going to do, which colour am I going to do first? I think I'm going to do the brighter green. These colours and the button was chosen for me by my granddaughter. She went through my scraps stash yesterday and picked out some colours for me. So to start off with, you're just going to put a slip knot on your hook, like so. And to start my granny squares, I'm just going to do a chain 4 and join, but you can do a magic ring if you want to. Slip stitch to the first chain to make my little ring. So then I'm going to chain 3 and then into that ring put another 2 double crochets. This tutorial is assuming that you know how to do double crochets and chains. It's not really a beginner tutorial, this one. It's just to show you how to make one of these little key rings. So 2 double crochets in the center ring, then chain 2 for your corner, then another 3, chain 2. So we're just going to make a little granny square with 4 sides. 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and I need another 3. So I'm using US terms throughout, sorry I forgot to say that. And chain 2, and then slip stitch join to the top of that first chain 3 that you made. And then if, like me, you're changing colour, you can then fasten off. You'll also need scissors. I forgot to say that too. It's been a while since I did a tutorial. There we go. So fasten off for that one. And then you want to make another one exactly the same for the other side. So I will do that and I'll meet back up with you when I've got 2. Okay, so I've got 2 of my centers. So now I'm going to continue my granny square with my next colour. And I'm not going to, usually with granny squares I would turn my work, but I'm not going to because it's quite a small project. I'm not sort of worried about it twisting at all. So just choose a corner and then I'll join with a standing double crochet. If you're not sure how to do a stand-in stitch, I do have a separate tutorial for that on my channel. So do a stand-in double crochet, then chain 2, then 3 double crochets in your corner, and then in each corner around I'm going to do 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles, okay, so carry on doing that all the way around, and don't forget when you get round to your first corner you need another 2 double crochets in that space before you join to the top. Okay, so in my last corner there I'm just going to put 2 double crochets in to complete the 3. Join to the top of that first one with a slip stitch, and fasten off. And then again I'm going to do the same with this one. Okay, so next we're going to do pretty much the exact same thing but with the final colour. So we're going to go, not going to turn our work, going to choose a corner, join with a slip stitch onto your hook, and then it's exactly the same as the last round basically. Stand-in double, chain 2 and 3 doubles, and then you'd obviously do the 3 in the middle space before you get over to the other corner. So it's just a little granny square. So you're going to continue to go round until you put your final 2 double crochets in the beginning. Join to the top of this first double crochet with a slip stitch and fasten off on your first square and weave in your ends. But when you get to the top of your second square, we're not going to be fastening off. So I will meet you there. But yeah, we will want to fasten in the ends other than the white that we're using before we get there. But just go around this square, fasten off, weave in all your ends of this one, and then weave in your ends and go around. Do not fasten off with your white on this one because we can use it to join our squares together and it gives us one less end to weave in. So I will meet you up when I get to the point of joining on my second square. Okay, so I've got one granny square that's complete, all of the ends woven in, and I've got the other one. So what I did was I joined to the top of, let me show you actually, I joined to the first single crochet, start again back, joined to the first double crochet that we made with a slip stitch, and then what I did is I slip stitch into that corner space, because what we're going to do then is we're going to join our squares but with the right sides facing. So we're going to flip this over So you want the right side of your square facing. So we're going to sandwich them together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch join. Actually, let's zoom in a little bit for this. Whoops, no. We're going to slip stitch through the back loops only. So this first one, this first stitch here, the back loop, it's a bit fiddly to get into because we've kept our yarn attached and we've turned it round. So if you just drop the other square for a second. So this first stitch, if you turn it over slightly, that there is your back loop. So you want to go into the back loop only of that first double crochet, and then I think that might even just be a little bit too close now, and then you want to go into the back loop only of this corresponding first double crochet on your other square. So the back loop of that one, and then you're going to slip stitch them together, and then you're going to go into the next double crochet, back loop only, oops, into the next one on the other square, back loop only, and slip stitch. So you're going to do that all the way along, and it should be easy enough to keep track of your stitches because they're in sort of groups of 3. So you know if you're going into the back loop of the first double of this 3, you should be going into the back loop of the first double of that 3. So we're going to slip stitch join this on 3 sides. But when we get to a corner, we're going to go pretty much through the back loop of the chain, if that makes sense, but I will show you when we get there. So back loop of that last double crochet. So in these chain spaces in the corner, we'll see if you just go into that chain space and into the corresponding chain space of the other square, and then just slip stitch those together. Okay, and then you're going to do exactly the same thing, back loop only, slip stitches all the way around 3 sides. So we've done one. I'm going to do along the bottom here and along the side here, and I'll meet back up with you when we get up to this side. Okay. Okay, so I got 2 more stitches left. And the last double corresponding to the last double. So now what we're going to do is you just take your hook out, and you can now flip your little pouch in the right way. So you can see we've got a nice little ridge because we did the back loop only. Gives us our nice little pouch shape. So then you can pop your loop back on your hook. And pull it tight. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 1, and into this chain space, this corner chain space, we're going to make a single crochet, and then in each double crochet around we're going to do a single crochet. So before we make our loops for our button, and for our keyring attachment, we're going to make 3 rows of single crochet all the way around first. So when you get to the chain space, make a single crochet in that one, and then skip over to this next chain space of the other square and make a single crochet in there. So that will close up the gaps at the top. And then a single crochet in each, double crochet over to the other side, and then make a single crochet in this space, your corner chain 2 space, and join to the single crochet we already made in the chain 2 space on the other side. So that's your first row. Join with a slip stitch. That's your first row of single crochets. So you're going to chain 1, and into that same single crochet make your first single crochet of the next round, and then just pop a single crochet in every stitch, and then repeat this row 1 more time, so that you'll have in total 3 rows of single crochet, and I'll meet back up with you then when we join. Okay, so just coming to the end of my 3rd row of single crochet. So you join to the top of the first single crochet you made, and again we're going to start this row by chaining 1, single crochet in that same stitch, and then you're going to make single crochets along. But what we're going to do is we're going to judge by eye where the center of your square is, so where you want your button loop. So your loop is basically made over 3 stitches, so I'm going to make it over these 3 here, more or less corresponding above my 3 from my double crochets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to single crochet in that first one excuse me. Then for your button loop, you want to chain 8 or however many. It depends. If you've got a slightly larger button than me, you might need a larger loop. So you can judge, but I find chaining 8 is enough. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then you're going to skip a stitch, and into the next stitch you just carry on with your single crochet. Like so. So that makes your button loop. So carry on with your single crochets until we get to the edge. And again, I'm going to judge by eye. Over 3 stitches, I'm going to make the loop for the keyring attachment. So I know these are my 2 corner spaces, so I'm going to do it in this one, and this one. So I've got 1 more single crochet before I get to my chosen stitches. So same again, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, then I'm going to chain 5 for my little keyring loop. I'm going to skip 1 stitch and then single crochet back into that next one, and then you can carry on and single crochet all the way to the end of your row. One more for me. And then join to the top of your first single crochet again with a slip stitch. But this time you can cut your yarn and fasten off. So you'll see you've got your little pouch. We've got our little loop to put our keyring attachment onto, and our loop to go over the button, which we are now going to attach onto the other side. So to attach my buttons, what I do is I take a piece of my yarn that I was using for my last round, and I take my smaller needle, and what I like to do is I'll split this yarn on purpose. Not very often you split yarn on purpose, mainly because I don't have sewing thread. I don't possess any sewing thread, so this is the way that I found to do it, so that I could basically make my own thread of the same colour. So I've just got a couple of strands of the yarn there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that on my smaller needle, which is sometimes easier said than done. You watch me not be able to do it now because I'm doing it on camera. Come on, don't fail me now. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and get this on my needle. Hooray, I did it. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to place my button, make sure everything's lined up right. Got my loop, so I know that my button is going to go around about there, and then the loop will come over it. I think Elsie did a wonderful job of choosing a button that matches the yarn. Okay, so I'm going to go from the back in and just leave a small tail. And then go back through. Anybody who's familiar with my crocheting and my my lives on TikTok and things will know sewing is not my favourite thing, hence why I tend to crochet my things together and not sew them together. But buttons look super cute on these, so I'm just going to go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure it's nice and secure. I usually do it 3 times, so I think that's twice. One more. There we go. So all I do then is I knot these ends together. Inside, make sure they're nice and tight. And again, I tend to go with the rule of 3. 1, 2, 3 knots. So that's nice and secure. Then I can carefully snip those ends off. And then I can weave in this end with my more friendly darning needle with a bigger hole that I can get the yarn onto. So just go down through that last stitch and weave in that end inside my work. nice and tight and secure. And then the last thing we need to do, there we go, is to get your keyring attachment and pop it on the side loop. Like so. And there you have your lip seal pouch or earbud pouch or whatever you choose to put in them. I've made lots of these this year. I will be making lots more. If you've got a market coming up, I'm sure that they will sell well, because I've got a market coming up and I've already sold the ones that I've made, hence why I'm making more. So have fun. I hope the tutorial was okay and that you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you don't already. And I will see you with another tutorial very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.